inactive. You had that message come up on your BMW. You've got an 07 E61 here, 5 Series BMW, and there's two things that'll throw up that message. One of them is actually something that you might think associated with the power steering, and the power steering under your bonnet in your BMW is this guy here. I've got a 06 1 Series over there, and the power steering reservoir is exactly the same in that. It has like this spider leg type lid on the top, and it'll very clearly tell you what type of oil you can use here on the top. See, CHF11S oil only. CHF11S oil only. That's the type of oil. And the lid is actually got a dipstick on it, so we can open that up. Now be very careful with this sort of fluid. You don't go dripping it on your Duke or anything like that. So be a bit careful with it. So you see on the bottom there's a dipstick. So you can actually come and check this. Now here's the funny one. It's quite likely going to be that if the weather's just gone cold, and then you get your active steering inactive message come up, because this fluid actually contracts a bit in the cold, and therefore the reservoir level will go down a little bit. So that's reason number one. Something to check is the fluid in here. Make sure you're on the stick. It's got the measurement gauges and everything there. That's the first thing to check, or top it up if need be. The second thing, believe it or not, when that active steering inactive light comes up, is the battery. With BMWs, the electronics are quite amazing. Have a look at the one up I got here about my BMW freaking out. Have a look at that link. So the other thing which can cause active steering inactive is actually in the back of this car, and believe it or not, it's the battery. If your battery gets a bit funny, that didn't open. If your battery gets a little bit funny, and here in the back of an E61, down in there and down underneath that tray is where your battery is. So check the voltage across your battery, because believe it or not, the battery being out of sorts, being low voltage or carrying on in some way like that, will cause that fault to come up as well. So it's one to look out for. And maybe if your clock is resetting, it's what happened for me, that's a sign that there's something up with your battery, or maybe even your alternator. If you've got a multimeter, that's a couple of things you can check. Get your positive and your negative on your multimeter and actually put it over your battery while the engine's running, and see how consistent that is. That's a check for your alternator. And then when the engine's not running, put the multimeter over the battery to see how many volts. And 13 volts is a bit of a safety thing. If you've got 13 volts, then everything's good and happy. But if it's below 13, 12 of course is the minimum, but in these they need a little bit more than that. So you want high 12s or over 13 volts, and then you can rule that one out. But active steering and active, two main things. One, it can be the steering fluid level, and I've shown you where to check that under the bonnet. And number two, it can be that the battery is playing up or a bit flat or so forth. Now here's the important bit. You can actually just go for a little drive and turn the wheel fully to the left, turn the wheel fully to the right, and a lot of the times that will actually disappear. That little error message will go away just by actively steering the car left to right is all it takes to ride it. So there's three things, but a good one is just go for a little drive, turn your wheel fully to the left, turn it fully to the right, and see if it doesn't go away. Many people report that just by doing that, it goes away. But if you want to also be a bit more thorough, then you can check your battery as well, and also check that level under the bonnet. Good luck. This is Mark from Mark's Reviews and Tutorials.